Normally, when people think of love these days, they think romance. You know, two people having a mutual attraction to one another. We see it all over the internet, in today's hit music and TV shows. But did you know there are actually 3 different definitions for love? I'm not talking about Webster Dictionary definitions here. I'm saying that the ancient Greek language had 3 words for love: eros, philia, and agape. Eros is the one we most commonly associate love with today, and hence the word erotic. It's that kind of romantic attraction and whatever desires stem from it. Figlio refers to friendship and the loyalty and equality between 2 people who are friends. And finally, agape. This is the one I'm going to be talking about. It is by far the hardest to comprehend in its fullest form. This is a selfless, unconditional love and devotion towards others, putting them above yourself. Yeah, I know, you've probably heard of this before and possibly experienced it when doing like community service, or you can even have agape love in a sport. But what about in everyday life? This is my hope and my dream. So the first and easiest way, as I mentioned before, is community service, community outreach, you know, whatever you want to call it. And honestly, it requires little to no stepping out of your comfort zone. But I still want to touch upon it because it's still necessary. I mean, less fortunate people rely on your giving. Could be giving up time or money. And you know, it's doing your part in society. It's things like buying something a little extra at the grocery store. Or in my case, completing service hours. Let's be real here. Most of the time, you don't really feel like you're loving the people as much as you are fulfilling an obligation. It's an expectation, but don't neglect it, because you know less fortunate people will be forever grateful. So you're on the right track. And so let's say one day you're going to go to a new organization to complete your service hours. And so you get there, and you do the work that they've started to give you. And you get settled down, then you notice something. Something changes in you. You get connected to that organization. And time flies, and you don't want to leave. I mean, after all, you completed your service hours like an hour ago. But all of a sudden, it's not about you, but about the people that you're serving, and about the cause that the organization supports. I mean, it might not even want to be something you do in life. I mean, this organization might be building houses for the homeless. Maybe you don't want to build houses for a living. But agape love is willing to lay aside personal preferences in order to serve others. So you're on the right track. And so let's put this a little bit more in perspective, in a place where you have a greater chance of affecting those around you. Say you're at school, or you're at work, and you've been asked to show the new kid around, or you've been asked to brief or mentor the new employee on the work they're going to do. And so, first let me ask these questions. How does it feel when you walk down the halls? Are you the social butterfly? Or are you strong on your own? Just keep those questions in mind. So like I said, it's things like being the person willing to show the new kid around, or getting involved in leadership activities. I mean, you've got to care for the people that you lead, or upholding the school's moral code. And you'll get satisfaction from all this because, well, these are the people you see every day. And it involves more of the questions of, how should I do this? Or, more importantly, who do I want to be at school? So let me ask you, who do you want to be at school? Someone out there in the audience might say, oh yeah, I want to be loved. Great. So why do you want to be loved? Well, first of all, I already have a lot of friends, and I guess I want to be loved because I'm nice, and I'm funny, and people like to be around me. So you've got some great characteristics there. You're nice, and you're funny, and people like to be around you. Hey, you know that new kid that you showed around on their first day of school? Yeah, he's having a little trouble fitting in, and he doesn't really have that many friends. You know, he's kind of lonely. If you're well-liked for who you are, chances are that person's going to like you too. Chances are that person could really use someone like you in their life, who's nice and funny and fun to be around. So look around and be willing to go the extra step. So you showed the new kid around. Great. Now invest time in their life. Get to really know them for who they are. They could become a lifelong friend. So what if I ask this question again? Who do you want to be at school? And maybe you're the person who says, yeah, I just want to get through school. You know, I don't really have that many friends. People don't seem to notice me that much. And, you know, I just want it over with. I understand how that feels. And I've been there. So you're the person who's strong on their own. But even though you may be strong on your own, I bet you get that nagging feeling sometimes that you want someone. You want someone to be there for you no matter what. Someone you can trust and tell anything to. And you've got these negative feelings because you're wondering, why am I not noticed? Or, what is it about me? Why can't I be like that person? And so you've got these negative feelings and you don't know what to do with them. You can let them out in a good way or a bad way. But here's what I found. You can channel those negative emotions into a positive goal for outreach. Meaning saying something like, hey, I may be a little bit lonely. I may not have that many friends. But now, I'm going to go out and I'm going to make sure no one else feels that way. Because no one deserves to go through that kind of torment. But what if I ask the question again? You say, hey, you know what? I'm comfortable. I've got friends, and I don't have friends. But you know what? Hey, it's okay, because I'm comfortable. So maybe you fall into both categories. So cherish the friends that you have. Be willing to look around and find those people that could really use a friend and get those negative emotions out of you in a positive way. And last example, what if you're the person who's fallen? I mean, you've been through a lot of drama and you're just worse off than before. How are you going to pick yourself back up? So maybe, sometimes your hardships will become a story to inspire others. You start seeing people who are in the same boat as you, and you just never met. So if all this comes together, you get a sense of community, of belonging and acceptance where everyone is valued. And it reflects in my life when I say, you know what? I may not be the coolest person in the world, or the most popular, but I am not about to leave anyone behind. It doesn't matter who they are or what they've done. Everyone deserves love, and everyone deserves equal love. And you know what? I kind of get a sense of like higher purpose from this. That I know that I'm being used to change someone else's life, despite who I am. It gives your life worth and the other person's life worth. So I've got this dandelion right here behind me. You know, it's been up there for a little while and changing. So take a dandelion. You've got this lush, beautiful yellow flower. It's a weed, but you know, it's still a flower. And it grows big and full and consumes that nutrients. And then something starts to happen to it. It starts changing. And those beautiful yellow petals, they just fall off and are replaced by those white, wispy seeds that blow away in the breeze. But if that flower lets go of those seeds, the wind will carry those seeds to a place the flower doesn't even know of. And those seeds will be growing up to become the next beautiful flower. So now take the human life. You've got a person who just is comfortable with life and is satisfied. You know, life is good for them. And they're just blossoming. But then something happens to them. And they might fall apart. Maybe they had friends and now they don't. But they don't know what to do. But if they allow themselves to be carried by, let's say, the winds of change, they will provide the seeds for the next beautiful flower, the next great person. So, why is this a big dream? Okay, well, let's think about this. Obviously, you can't love everyone. I mean, that is literally impossible for the human to do alone. Because there are people in this life that just irritate us. I mean, you've got them in your life, I've got them in mine. But you know what? Agape love has patience around those irritating people. Not a grin and bear kind of patience, but more of a, I will wait for you kind of patience. And so I call this whole thing leaving a legacy of love. Why? Because when I leave high school, or when you go to the next stage in your life, what do you want people to say about you? Wouldn't you want them to say something like, yeah, he really loved people. Or you know what, she cared so much for her peers. I mean, that's good stuff right there. I want people to say that about me. And so how this affects life as a whole is that you get this sense of interconnectedness, a tightly woven people. It starts with your school or your work community. If one person just reaches out to 3 people, and then those 3 people each reach out to 3 more people of their own, you've started this chain reaction that's going to shake your community. And then your community goes out to an organization or somewhere in love, and just, it'll soon shake the world. Okay, and last question. Why would anyone want to give up a comfortable, happy, satisfying life just to face more unknowns than before? I mean, after all, that's what's being asked here. You're stepping out of your comfort zone. You don't know what's going to happen. I mean, you know it's for the benefit of others, but you don't know what's going to happen along the way. What compels you to go to the next level? Okay, first of all, this sort of thing could happen to anyone at any time. Say you're the person that has a lot of friends, and then you get in a bunch of drama and they get taken away. And you don't know what to do. Wouldn't you want someone to be there for you in your time of need? Agape love fills this up in a way that other forms of love can't. And if you miss out on that sense of community in life, you miss out on the truly fulfilling and satisfying part. And it's also a way to overcome hardship, to know that you can make a difference. You have the ability in you to make a difference in spite of yourself and in spite of your circumstances. It means you don't have to be perfect. Because you know what? We've all been at the bottom of the pit before. And for different reasons. And you know that when you're in the bottom of the pit and you cry out for help, very few people actually answer. So be the person who sends down a rope and pulls that person out of the pit with your own strength. Be the person to lend a hand when everyone else just passes by. And remember, this love isn't the butterflies you get when you see the person you like. It's not a box of chocolates or a bouquet of roses. This is a love that reaches out, that has patience around irritating people, and repays evil with kindness. This is a love that lays aside personal preferences in order to be there for those less fortunate, or for those considered an outcast. And this is a love that never fails, even when people do. To be the person to pick them up. To be loved not for temporary charm, but for eternal character, to be appreciated beyond ability, beyond appearance, beyond the superficial. Everyone's heart has something to say. Does anyone want to listen? Thank you.